Dragonfistmartialartists. This is our first official episode where we're talking about something really important, and that is love. Now you may think that martial arts has nothing to do with love, but for me it does. You see, my father was my instructor, my sister was my competitor, let's say. A lot of my life has been spent around or in martial arts. So to me it's not just a karate class that I come and go to as I please. It's something that I want to invest myself in so that way I can gain from it. There's an investment of the heart, really. Now what I'd like to talk to you about today is the true intent of martial arts. You see, too often the true meaning of martial arts is lost. You watch shows like Karate Kid, Cobra Kai, Kung Fu Panda. Think of any show that has martial arts or fighting in it, and what do you see? Media has muddled martial arts. Media has taken something sacred and made it into an amusement. Yeah, there's some morality. You know, there's Danielson beating the bad guy. 3 whole movies about it, in fact. There's a big fat panda bear who can find his true strength. Cool. But does that really have any significance in the overall movie? Or do you just sit there laughing at the panda because he's falling over himself and having to learn these really basic lessons? Are you watching Karate Kid just cheering because the bad guy finally got what he deserved? Now I could go on and on telling you this is what I think, this is where I've been, but this episode isn't about that. What this episode is about is love. Love for martial arts, love for our fellow human beings. The very first thing that we teach our students here at Dragonfist Martial Arts is how to love and appreciate themselves. You know, we've had students already, we're 1 semester deep, you know, struggling with their own at-home problems, struggling with their own handicaps, struggling with their own home life. And I can't say these people have turned around and become superheroes or masters of martial arts, but I can say I've seen growth. And that's because we're not just a place where they've come and learned how to kick and punch, but we've taught them about the chakras and their own personal energy, positive and negative, how they can affect and defend the world around them and inside of them. Some of them may not see it, but I've seen a lot of growth just with them learning to appreciate and love themselves. And not in a selfish way, not in a, oh, I love myself, but in a, you know, I can do this. I can understand this. I can try this. Very simple steps towards true love and appreciation of oneself and of martial arts. So what is the true intent of martial arts? Is it punching? Is it kicking? What is it all about? I would say it's about a journey. It's about a personal journey with yourself, learning how to control your body inside and out so that you can positively go forward into the world with confidence and peace and bring balance to the problems around you. Now, am I saying come to karate class and we'll teach you how to go kick the crap out of bad guys? No, we're not training Batman here. But we are training everyday heroes. Myself, over the last 5 years, I've had to totally switch my direction. In 2013, I went to North Dakota, quit karate. Came back a few months later. Kind of dabbled in it. Started getting interested in it. But then my dad, my instructor, passed away. So I quit. I didn't want anything to do with martial arts. I gave it a good effort. I gave it a try. I tried getting a little group like we have together back then. But it wasn't meant to be because my heart wasn't in the right place. I was so busy trying to get other people to help me fix my problems that I wasn't fixing my own problems. Time went by, 2 years went by, and I remembered a promise I made to my dad on his deathbed. And the very room that I'm actually filming this in was his deathbed. And I leaned over him, and he was pretty much comatose at that point, and I just whispered in his ear. I said, "Dad, I know you want big things for my life, but one thing I can promise is I'll get my black belt." That was my last promise to my dying father. Whew, but boy, did it take a lot of time to realize what that was going to mean. 2.5 years went by, and I walked into his studio and wanted to get my black belt with them. And I got put down the white belt, and there was very good reasons for that. I hadn't been there in a long time. I didn't know the same style that they were teaching. But before I got my black belt, I was at a provisional black belt status, which means I had trained about 9 years. There were some times where I took some time off, I won't lie about that, but I trained about 9 years. And I wanted to put that last year in and just get my black belt. But it wasn't time for that with this organization. So I had a choice. I either quit, give up on it, I go in, spend another 9 years trying to get my black belt, or I go and get my black belt somewhere else at a lower level and try and use that to positively influence the world around me and pursue a black belt starting at that lower level. I chose the third option, and in 2016, under a member of Jhahnmartialartist, I got my black belt. I only know about half of the material I was supposed to know for that belt. I'll be the first one to admit that. But I got it so that I could use it. But I sat there for 2 years trying to figure out how I was supposed to use it. I thought, hey, I can go to this dojo. I can prove that I'm a black belt. I can become a teacher. I went to Golden Tiger Martial Arts at the time, trying to get a job there as a black belt. I almost got it. And I didn't get it because someone with a bachelor's degree came in. But you know what? That's okay, because I realized later that if I had gone in there, I probably would have failed. Because I wasn't doing it for the right reason. I was doing it for money. I was doing it trying to get out of a crappy job. I was doing it to try and be the big, bad teacher black belt. It wasn't the right time. It wasn't the right reason. Well, time went by, and I put a lot of thought into it, a lot of prayer into it. And it ended up coming to 2018, the year we're in now, and realizing, after listening to a dear friend of mine, a dear brother of mine, that I could get back in the best way by trying not to take anything at all. And I started thinking about my dad and the conversation we had about starting his own dojo. And the number one thing he said he was afraid of was that if he started his own dojo, it would stir up trouble. And it wouldn't achieve peace, it wouldn't achieve confidence. It would just teach karate. He was afraid that he would get lost in his own martial art just as much as I was afraid of doing the wrong thing to disrespect what he wanted from me. But I had a good friend of mine who was very passionate, still is very passionate about martial arts, and he kept saying, let's start a dojo, let's start a dojo. And I gave it some thought, and if we're going to do this thing, we're going to do it right. If we're going to do this thing, we have to do it in a way that honors my father, but doesn't take away from the people that he invested in. That meant we couldn't be associated with Jhahnmartialartist. We couldn't be associated with Chung's Taekwondo over in Pomona, Ontario, I think in Rancho. We had to be our own thing and make it very clear that we're just a group of people who want to do the right thing. What did that mean? It meant that we had to really sit down and place our hearts in a place of love and respect for the future students that we would see. And that brings me back to the whole point of this video. We had to teach, grow, and create within this group with love in everything that we do. How does love fit into fighting? How does love fit into martial arts? Well, I was wandering around my house one day just kind of thinking to myself, and I saw this picture. This is a picture that my sister and I took a little after my dad died at my church. You may be wondering, what's significant about this picture? Well, if you look closely at the picture, you'll notice that if you look at the left side of my sister's uniform, there's a black logo there. If you look at my uniform on the left side, you notice there's a red logo there. What those are two different logos from two different organizations. Now the red logo represents Chung's Taekwondo. Chung was a man who studied the black logo way of doing things and revised it. I can't say what his intention was behind that, but I can say that there was good reasons for it. My dad trained under Chung, not Chae Mu Kwan, but a man who studied Chae Mu Kwan. Chung's Taekwondo is his version. My dad trained with him for over 20 years, made some very solid friends, and ultimately became a teacher at his own studio under another organization called America's Youth Outreach Program. And I'm not going to go into depth, but the significance of mentioning the two logos. My sister, when my dad died, began studying Chae Mu Kwan. When my dad died, I didn't study anything. I just studied what I knew from America's Youth Outreach Program and what I had used to get my black belt. That's all I studied. I didn't study anybody's way. Now I study under Chung's. Why? There's a whole list of reasons. But suffice it to say, there's been friction between Chung's Taekwondo and Chae Mu Kwan. I won't go into who started it or why it started, but I will say that the one thing I learned from all of this is how quickly people can break apart if they don't understand the very fundamentals of Taekwondo. There are 5 tenets of Taekwondo: courtesy, justice, perseverance, self-control, and fighting spirit. These are the very building blocks that you start with when you become a white belt. And then right after that, you have to realize the balance between mind, body, and spirit. And I do spirit on my stomach because I believe very much in a saying that my teacher in high school said about having fire in the belly to drive you forward through life successfully. Not saying names, but there are some people who have been less than courteous to me since we started Dragonfistmartialartists. There have been some people who have not shown objective and justified behavior towards me and my organization. There have been people who have not showed a strong, persevering spirit because they felt threatened or disrespected. The self-control has not been there. I've received nasty phone calls, nasty emails. And the fighting spirit has been a fighting spirit. There hasn't been love. And like I said, no names, because I love these people and I don't want them being disrespected by this video. But the love for me did not come from Chae Mu Kwan. The love for me came from Chung's Taekwondo, where my dad started. So that's why I studied Chung's. Do I dislike Chae Mu Kwan? Absolutely not. I would love one day to go to Seoul, Korea and study traditional Chae Mu Kwan. I would love to have the time to learn with my masters and grandmasters from Chae Mu Kwan, because Chung's comes from Chae Mu Kwan, so that's still an important part of history that I want to take part in someday. But the American members of Chae Mu Kwan, not all of them, but most of them that I've had to meet, have forgotten the fundamentals of love within martial arts. What is the true intent of martial arts? To know yourself and then be able to help others through defense, verbally and physically. Some people may disagree with that. That's fine. Some people may not like this video because of some of the things I've said, and I've tried really hard to avoid names and avoid accusations because I love all of the people involved in my life as a martial artist, good and bad, because they all teach me something. And that's the true intention, to learn. We're not learning so we can be Johnny Lawrence, to let out our anger at issues that have come towards us in life. Yes, you can use martial arts to train your anger, but not to let out anger. Never. Never ever to let out anger. Train it. Absolutely. We don't want to be the type of person where we get into martial arts because I don't know how else to deal with my problems, so I'm going to take martial arts. And there are things to be learned, but that's not what we should focus on. What you need to focus on is making sure that you are the number one best person that you can be. Don't choose sides. Don't try and be the best. Just try and be the best. The best you. Don't worry about what other people are doing. Don't worry about if you can't do certain things. There's plenty of things in Taekwondo that I still can't do. I'm learning those things. There are plenty of people I don't get along with, but I hold my tongue. Because love and self-love and appreciation are the true intentions behind Taekwondo. Because if you know how to defend yourself, then you don't have to defend yourself. You know, you see people in fights that don't know how to fight. And they're kind of doing this, just trying to, doing this kind of thing, When you know Taekwondo, really know Taekwondo, you get to a point where you can stand like this, with your hands like this, and be able to, push people away, back up, move around. You don't even have to worry about any of this. Because you're confident, and you know that you have living your life to the best. If something's going to happen, it's going to happen. But if your skill level and your comfort level are at a certain place, you don't have to worry. I hope this video makes sense. We're not here about punching. We're not here about kicking. We're not here about who can look the coolest. We're just here to be the best that we can be. This is James Hahn from Dragonfist Martial Arts. I hope this has been a good first episode. If it hasn't been, let me know. But either way, what comes next is going to be intense. So stay tuned, and we'll see you there.
Thanks for joining me on another adventure. If you liked what you saw, please hit the like button and feel free to subscribe. If you didn't like what you saw, please shoot me a message on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram and let me know how I can improve my content. To support me financially, you can find the Patreon link in the description below, or you can email me at Jhahnmartialartist@gmail.com. Whatever the future may hold, it'll be intense. I hope to see you there.